Hello African youth, welcome to part 2 of the last topic we talked about, which was why Africa needs to be grateful for the blessing of colonialism. And part 2, sorry I have this bag on my hand, part 2 is dedicated to African unity. African unity is the key to African freedom. African unity is the key to African resurrection and African development. Progress will begin when Africa unites, because when Africa unites, we'll be able to net all our problems in one basket, chop them down into manageable dragons that then we can face and tame at the individual level. You know? So in part 1, we discussed why Africa should embrace colonialism, and we unlocked, the chains to apeness, and we released the magic. Those who now understand the white man and no longer carry that hatred for colonialism and the white man and accept colonialism as normal life are beginning to see the light, and are beginning to unchain their minds, and they are beginning to free themselves, and they are ready for the next realm of awakening. The next realm of awakening is what's going to help you understand this part 2. So unless you've figured out why you need to stop hating colonialism, you're not ready for this part 2. So let's talk African unity. Now, African unity, for African unity to happen, it will happen through colonialism. Because African unity itself is Africans colonizing Africa. Which means that African unity will allow you to benefit from others. Will allow you to cultivate in a land that once wasn't yours. Because right now, your hate for colonialism has divided you, because you fear. And so you can't be able to benefit from the rest of Africa. That's why African unity is important, because it helps you to be able to benefit from the rest of Africa. So African unity is colonialism. And the more we hate colonialism, the more we divide Africa and make unity impossible. Sorry guys. To understand how difficult African unity is, one must now, with this new enlightenment that I gave you, try to think about the New World Order. You've heard of the NWO, the New World Order. In conspiracy, they say this powerful group of privileged people want to dominate the world. You know it. It's everywhere. Now, why you don't support the New World Order is the same exact reason why African unity is difficult. The same exact reason. Why you're not willing to accept the New World Order? Your fear, your sentiment about the whole New World Order, your fear of who will be in charge, that exact stigma, against the proposition of the New World Order is the exact stigma against the proposition of African unity. You get it? And this is why I tell you need to stop hating colonialism. Because when you stop hating colonialism, you're able to learn what colonialism is, and so learn how to decolonize yourself. You get the antidote, the key to freeing your mind. You get the key to freedom. You're able to understand the problem and able to understand, you get the opportunity to take responsibility and fix those problems. Yeah? So, you have to think, what is your price? what would you be willing to accept in order to embrace the New World Order? Whatever is your prerequisite, whatever you require to accept the New World Order is what you must provide to Africans for this unity to happen. You know? And believe you me, it's not this stupid resentment and vengeful talk, you know, and hatred against the white man and colonialism that will convince. That won't convince Africans at all. Because such mentality has a counter effect, by the way, of scaring people. It scares people. And it keeps them glued to their chains. You know? Keeps them glued to the devil they know. You know? The honest devil. It's better the devil you know. You know? Because deep inside, we all know we are devils. And we don't trust each other. So when you preach hatred, you know, you expose your pathology. And you can't expect that will sell cooperation. Because everybody knows you're evil too. You know? We've seen ourselves, for example, when we lose our temper. You know? When we lose our temper, we get so mad and we do so much evil. You've seen the warlords in Africa, the tyranny, people cutting off people's heads and all that evil. Believe you me, each and every single one has a potential for that. And if you don't think you're a monster, you're a fool. And you start thinking that for you, you're better than others, you're more compassionate than others, that makes you preach this hatred for white men and colonialism. And it's what the education teaches you. Because the education is meant to colonize you. But colonizing you is your friend. Once you understand what colonialism is. Once you understand that colonialism is nature. Because then you're able to free your mind. You know? You're able to understand how you're being colonized and so decolonize yourself. But if you hate colonialism, you're looking away from the keys to your freedom. This takes me to part 2 of this talk. Now that you understand that African unity is all about colonialism, and so you need to embrace colonialism and understand colonialism in order to free yourself and be able to take responsibility that will reunite Africa, that will empower you and make you comfortable uniting as Africa. I'll address something that one of you asked me to do. You know, one of you asked me to expose the damaging colonial education system and awaken the youth. And since the Kenrald experience is dedicated to the youth, I want to end this Why You Should Love Colonialism series by doing just that. Africa needs to stop educating their future with bullshit. Stop educating your children with bullshit. Africa must understand colonialism. It's very important that you understand colonialism. And to understand colonialism, you have to love the white man and love colonialism. Because colonialism is the key to freeing yourself. And that's African unity. If you don't understand that African unity is colonialism, then you need to go back to part 1 and, you know, awaken your mind deeper. Africa needs to understand that the education system is meant to enslave and can only empower you if it's understood for the poison that it is. You know, colonialism is a natural game. It's God's game. God sent us upon the earth to exploit it, and so it's a God's game. So you have to play the game and understand. You have to understand the game, and you have to love the game to become good at it. So as long as you hate colonialism, you can't be good at it. You know, and colonialism is not bad. It's life. But how do you colonize people in a way that they are willing to colonize, to be colonized? Is by empowering them, by allowing them to take responsibility and to make themselves strong. And then it becomes cooperation. That's why you see right now the preaching from Europe is African cooperation. Because this is the later stage of colonialism. But we are not cooperating because we are still playing the victimization game, because we hate them. And so the little cooperation that we do is trust out of naivety, and that's why they keep exploiting. We need to trust them out of courage, because we're empowered, because we understand the game, and so we are good players. So that's one fault with the education system. You know? So teach the children that the education system is how they are being enslaved. And that should be the first lesson, and to teach them to see the truth. Teach the children that they are not in school to get jobs and wealth. That's a mentality. To think that you're in school to get money and to buy the things that make you happy. To think that life is about happiness is the most stupid thing that you can have as an African youth. And this is what the education system teaches you. And this is what the education system has taught your parents. So they send you to school, go to school, and one day you will get a job and make money, which is pathetic. So what the Kenrald experience is teaching you, and what you need to teach yourselves, African youth, who I care about, is that you're in school to learn to read. And when you learn to read, you're able to extract epistemology, great knowledge from the greatest minds on earth. You're in those universities, it's a privilege, and you've been given those years to ground yourself in deep knowledge and understanding of life. So you're in school to learn to read. You're in school to learn to write, so that you can express yourself articulately. Can you articulate yourself? You know? You're in school to learn to think. Because once you ground yourself in this deep knowledge, you know how to think. And you're able to see these things like the reverse psychology that has been played, where they've used hatred for colonialism to block you from seeing the keys that will free you. Because the more you hate colonialism, you're looking away from the answer to your problems. You know? That's why African unity is hard. Because you hate colonialism and you preach against colonialism. Now how are you going to colonize the rest of Africa if you preach against colonialism? How are you going to unite Africa? Because colonialism is unity, is uniting. You see now Africa is united with Europe. How do you think we're united? Because they colonized us. And the unity of before that was us when we colonized them. You've watched part 1, you know that. And the world is about colonizing each other and doesn't stop. And it's what God set us out to do. Life is suffering. Life is more profound than happiness. So you can't be in school to look for money. You're in school to learn to articulate yourself, to ground yourself in truth and learn to articulate yourself. You know, because once you're grounded in that truth and you can articulate yourself, you become a superpower. And with this power, you're freed. You earn the freedom, which is knowledge of problems, which is knowledge that life is suffering, which is knowledge you can identify undue suffering and do something about it. And doing something about it means that you've unlocked opportunities to take responsibility. Now, when you unlock opportunity to take responsibility, to reduce suffering, you have freedom. That's the whole purpose of life. That's the purpose of life. And that's what colonialism is. Colonialism is taking responsibility. When the white men came to Africa, they were suffering. They had nothing. And there was this rich land. And they came to negotiate. But when they reached the negotiating table, they found us or still entitled and benevolent. And so they took advantage. But they were not wrong. And for us to think that they were wrong and to hate them is being hypocrites, because it's like saying they should have stayed in their poor lands and died. And the fact that you wanted them to die exposes your pathology, it exposes your evil, the evil in you, if you want them to die. And yet you could help, because they've colonized Africa, but they've not, you've not died. It means Africa has enough for the rest of the world, and the world has enough for all of us. So for you to hate colonialism and blame the white man is just time wasting. It's stupid resentment, vengeance, and hatred that takes you nowhere. So you're stuck. Everything is determined. You become a determined individual, where nature and culture determines who you are. And so what you are is what your parents tell you, what the teachers tell you, and you yourself, you've not learned to think. You've not learned to see the world and see the truth. You've not understood the fundamentals, the truths of the world. You're gullible. And this is what education should be about, not employment. That by becoming articulate, you can call habitable order from the chaos. You can call peace from suffering. And this is how the world was created. So you become a god. It makes you a god. You're in school to become a god, not to become an employee. Life is more profound. Life is trouble. Life is suffering. Life is aging. Life is death. So it can't be about happiness. And wisdom and awakening, which I'm trying to do with the Kenrald experience, begins when you accept suffering. Because when you accept that suffering, you take responsibility at the individual level. You take responsibility to contend with that mess. And that's what education is meant to give you. And that's why gods live in heaven, because in heaven they are all responsible and they cooperate, and competition is fun, and colonialism is good, because that's the order of life. That's how God created life.